Who do you want to talk about first?
Mitch Sherman, The Athletic.
He can play. And we need people that can play.
And we'll never be royal. Let me live that fantasy. Oh.
Mitch Sherman, The Athletic. On The Connor Happer Show. On 1620, The Zone.
He can play.
All right, we're joined now on the phone by our good friend Mitch Sherman from The Athletic. Mitch, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing pretty well. How are you?
Good. Let's get this right out of the way. So let's set an over-under for Matt Rhule's press conference length on Saturday. There will be much ground to cover. Many questions will be asked. And I would imagine that, he's not on that much of a time crunch. So with that being said, how long are we going for Saturday with Matt Rhule?
Well, I think I think we should set an over under on the number of times that we get a, okay, guys, last question.
Yeah. Okay. That's good.
That'll be said several times by Keith Mann.
3 to 5 for sure.
Probably like a 2.5, 3. I'd take the over 3.5 on that.
Yep.
And then the press conference, I'd put the over under at like 31 minutes.
Whoa, I think that's low. I think we're going to go into the 40s for sure.
Ooh.
There's a lot of ground to cover, Mitch. When you don't talk to the head football coach for a month, and a lot has happened. I mean,
and you're not going to get him again for a little bit, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you were asking how long it would go if it was just unchecked, it would be up in the range of probably 60 minutes. But yeah. I think it's going to get stopped. I think he's going to have something.
I got to go.
Rhule's got to get to. They have a junior day that afternoon. So he doesn't have all day, Connor.
Yeah. But he said that before. He's sometimes he's like, yeah, I'll stand up here and answer. Mostly after Nebraska loses, he'll.
That usually happens when I think he's feeling guilty about whatever.
It's like, I'm not going to walk away from this. I'm going to face it. I'm going to take it.
So it's a tactic.
Okay. So on the press conference, where do you start? What is the most pressing question of Matt Rhule and Nebraska football at this moment? Like outside of how have you been for the last month? Yeah.
I mean, there'll be some small talk probably.
Yes.
I think once you get past the, there might even be a token question about the recruiting and his recent travels. He's been all over. And late this week, or in the middle of this, not late in the week yet, but in the middle of this week, he's been at the Senior Bowl and the Shrine Bowl sites watching former Huskers get ready for the draft. I think the first question's about the special teams coordinator position, how they're going to coach that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, do you think there will be an answer to that? I mean, I don't know if there will be a name, but I mean, the last thing we heard about it was, hey, this thing needs a complete overhaul. So here we go.
There'll be an answer. Yeah. By answer, do you mean like a resolution?
Right.
No.
Right.
Not necessarily, although, yeah, I don't know. I don't think we're going to get a name. I don't think we're going to get a name of a special teams coordinator on Saturday. I do not. I think it's going to go into February, which is obvious since Saturday is February. But yeah, I think he'll talk about it. I think he'll talk about what he's been doing, and he'll maybe drop a hint about the direction that he's headed, and then he can certainly talk more about just the need. He can go beyond what he said in New York and talk about the need to improve that, and that the comments in New York were made before Nebraska. I don't want to say parted ways, but before Nebraska changed its relationship with Ed Foley, before Ed Foley was moved out of the coordinator position.
Right.
So he can talk about that.
Yeah. So do we, not to, I don't know how far we are down the line on this thing, but, are we under the impression at this moment that Nebraska is looking to the NFL? There's only 2 teams that are in the NFL that are still alive. So maybe there's somebody in there, or maybe they're just taking their like I guess are we under the impression that it's somebody there? I mean, we already know Nebraska has an assistant coach who they're going to have next year who's working on the Chiefs staff at the moment. I guess is that the holdup at this point?
What if Nebraska had an assistant coach on both staffs that were coaching in the Super Bowl, a future assistant coach? I don't know. That could be it. That would be a potential explanation if they're waiting. There's one football game left to be played, and this delay is kind of running alongside that. Maybe there's something to that. That would explain things. I honestly don't know, but I think that what we'll get from Matt Rhule is you'll be able to read between the lines.
Yeah.
I think you'll have a much better sense coming out of Saturday morning if Nebraska's waiting for the Super Bowl to get over, or if this has just been a situation where he's been very busy in January, and they have 10 coaches on the road plus the head coach. So in previous times, you would be in a situation where I think there's more urgency to bring in a position like this, because otherwise you're going to be down a coach on the road. Yeah, you could always upgrade a GA, but it's not as effective. Like, there's a reason why coaches are in full-time positions, and they in part because they are more effective recruiters. But now they have well beyond 10 coaches in position who are capable in position to go out and recruit on the road, even without a special teams coordinator in place. And I don't think that even if they had the special teams coordinator in place, that coach would likely be among the 10 on the road. Maybe. We saw Ed Foley do a lot of work in the state of Nebraska. I don't think that's going to be the assignment of the new special teams coordinator. So they're fine on the road in January. And it just may be that he has put this on the back burner until we get to this weekend, and then they're back in the office, and he can prioritize it where he believes it needs to be prioritized.
Mitch, are you on Rocco Watch this afternoon?
Yeah, I got him on tweet notification. So we'll find out if that's the way that he wants to announce it. His visits should be over, and now it's about I saw some speculation or the possibility that he could make a trip this weekend to Michigan. Don't know if that's still in the works. He's been to Indiana, so I think we'll hear something. I think we'll hear something here pretty quick. Certainly this week, maybe today, maybe tomorrow.
What is the significance of the potential addition there? I mean, given that it's the expectation. I mean, he's played all of his snaps in his career at guard. And Nebraska, I don't know that they were necessarily actively looking for a guard, but a guy went into the portal, and we know they're still looking for tackles. Like, what is the significance of that addition should it happen?
I think it's important. I think it would allow flexibility. It helps build some depth. You've got a couple of guards with experience who are coming back, but somebody has to play the center position. So I think the most realistic spot, the most realistic player to be the center, someone with experience you'd feel comfortable about going into the 2025 season, is Justin Evans. So if he moves to center, then that's a guard that you have to find.
Yeah.
And if you can find that guard with 23 starts at Notre Dame versus someone with no starts at Nebraska, then that's a good spot to be in. So yeah, while it wasn't one of those positions that we identified in December, interior offensive line, as something that was a pressing need for Nebraska, I think maybe it should have been. We were just kind of hyper focused on tackle because that's of magnified importance. Offensive tackle is just command attention. So we've been talking about that a lot, but guard is up there. Interior, I just say interior instead of guard. Interior is up there as something that where Nebraska also needs to get some help. So maybe it'll find a situation where Rocco fell in the Huskers' lap, and that'd be very beneficial going into next season.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's weird. I never really thought of it that way, but if you do add a guy like that with all that experience at that high of a level, I think what it does and what Nebraska's been looking for and has fallen short of over the last couple of years is that flexibility to, hopefully be able to put guys in the right position along a couple spots on the offensive line. I mean, that's something that they have fallen short on now. And it doesn't fix all your problems, and you still, need some things to work out for you at tackle, but there's some capable bodies there, and you've got Pritchett, but like, I don't know, that might solve a part of your problem on the offensive line, just as far as where guys are going to be and when.
Yeah, I think it definitely would. They're not in a position anywhere on the offensive line where you can just say, okay, we have enough. No need to look around. Thanks, but no thanks. Like if there's somebody there that Nebraska thinks can help on the offensive line, like they're looking and they're interested and they're going to go. It looks like they're going to go all in. I don't think that you would have seen this visit happen unless Nebraska was prepared and communicated how prepared it was to make a very competitive offer. And, we're talking about NIL here.
Definitely.
And you have something to offer as far as an opportunity. So he's not going anywhere after starting for the better part of 3 years at Notre Dame to be on the bench or, I'm sure he's open to competing, like he's a competitor, but you're coming in with the expectation to start, and that opportunity exists at Nebraska. So if you finish the portal season, at least the winter part of it, with Elijah Pritchett at tackle, and then now this addition at guard, I think you feel really good about what you did, because it's been so hard for Nebraska since the portal came into existence and became a key part of the way you build the roster. It's been very hard for Nebraska to find quality offensive linemen in the portal. So if you could get two, one inside, one outside in this December-January period, that's a big win.
All right, Mitch, we will let you go. Good to chat as always, and we'll talk to you next week.
All right. Take care. Thank you.
And Sherman from The Athletic. And can't wait to see what comes out of that beautiful, beautiful press conference on Saturday. The Nebraska beat is thirsty.
They need them some Rhule, and they'll be serving it up.
It's possible that Nebraska has an assistant, will be an assistant on their staff next year, who is currently on the staff of each of the Super Bowl teams.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's right.
That could be fun.